Hey guys, here's a little update on the wagon, how it's coming along. Here's the engine out, or ready to go back in. New gaskets and all, cleaned up real nice and clear coated up so that help keep it from oxidizing some, I hope. You know how the aluminum gets over time. We'll see about that. I don't know for sure, but you know how that'll do. But it's about ready to go in the car. Here's the engine bay. Let's say all back together as far as most of the major components that go on the firewall. Left the brake booster off just to make it a little bit more room, getting everything back in. Put it on later. I did some sealing around the HVAC. Put a little caulking around it. The seal too is starting to, get dry rotted over time, cracks and stuff. So I thought, well, I'll fill that in a little bit with some silicone, and took Vaseline and put on the pipes around it so that it wouldn't stick to the pipes, so that way they can be pulled back out. I need to change the heater core. Of course, this has got a rather new heater core in it, maybe a year old or something. I don't know. It's not too old. I put it in not long ago, and well, in the RS, but of course it come out of it. The HVAC box is from it, and the condenser or evaporator. I'm not sure. I mean, I wasn't having any problems with it, so I just used it. But still, it can be removed from there easily, even with that silicone, because it didn't stick to that, I'm sure, with the Vaseline. Also sealed around all the screws of the box. You might be able to see it in this video, I don't know, but I just took a little bit of black silicone and put on the nuts and then screwed them in a little bit till it was against the firewall but not tightened down, and then once the silicone dried I went ahead and tightened them up to kind of crush that, make little gaskets out of it. And that's about it. Cleaned up everything under here. So I'm gonna have the engine in today, I think, and then add the wiring and whatnot. Interior's coming along. Yeah, of course the dash ain't in there. I've got to dye it. It's up here. I've got some vinyl dye, medium beechwood, so hopefully it's going to match the interior pretty well. The carpet, you can't get in that color anymore, or not that I could find, so I went with saddle, I believe it is, and it's gonna do. It's not exact match, of course, but it's going to look okay, I think. New headliner, and that is the medium beechwood. I didn't do the visors. I'll do them later. I have the fabric for it. So, yeah, they take a while. Plus, I want to get my sewing machine together so that I can sew around them like they're supposed to be. They don't have to be. You can glue them, and they work fine. But I do want to sew around them when I put them together. But that's where I'm getting the rear suspension. I doubt you'll be able to see it down here. It's dark. But it's in here. Oh, and I've got these. Yeah, let me give you a show of these things. Okay, I made these in hopes of being able to compress those springs. This actually worked, but I screwed up, and that stuff right here, this is a heat shrink that I'd put on there. It caught in the threads, and when I could not get the nut off, I had to cut one of those. But it worked, but that gave me the idea. It was just too wide, so that it had movement to it when you were compressing the springs. So I tried these things, and they will not work. They won't go in there. That's these. They could be used to, maybe you could get them in if the car was under load, sitting on its own weight. To compress springs, but of course that defeats the purpose of being able to compress the springs to put them in, because you cannot install these on there. The spring is too wide anywhere you go when it's freestanding, so that these will not go on. These are mainly just, I think, really raise the car if you want to raise one a little bit. However, these here are the real deal. These will work. Maybe I can get in here and show you. You can get these on. They'll go on quite easily. Be able to get the clamp part on it. You know, you can, and if you needed to, you could put these down in the low, where the spring is lower whenever they're out of the car, and then, you know, kind of rotate them around to get them set where you need them to clamp it. And it's a very easy, effective way to clamp your springs. I'll probably use these here pieces. What that does is just slides up along with on that to protect the spring, so that the spring's not rubbing against metal. It'll be riding against that. And I'll probably put a little bit of heat shrink on here. On the bottom, I will not. You know, on these parts. Or I may find something to cushion the spring. I don't really think I need to, but maybe, you know, a little piece of felt or something on there, just something so it's not metal to metal. But these will work. That's a very good deal. So anybody that's looking for a cheap, effective way of compressing your rear springs, I don't think well, of course you can't do it with the front, but you can buy or rent coil spring compressors for the front. But these here will work great for the rear springs. So I'd highly recommend them, as opposed to just trying to force them in there, and then trying to jack up the axle to be able to get the shock screw in. Just wanted to pass that on, because I know that's a hassle, especially if you've got some stiff springs. You wind up lifting the whole car off the ground before you ever get the axle up there far enough to get the shock spring in it, or the screw in it, I mean. And here's the tie rods and the control arms, which hopefully by the end of the week, all that'll be back together in the front end. So that's where I'm at, and I'd say within the next 2-3 weeks, maybe this thing might be drivable. I've been here a long time. I bought it in May of 2018. Really hadn't done nothing to it. Just sat here for a long time, but then I finally decided to get off my lazy butt and get to work on it. And what was going to be a utility vehicle started coming out too nice. And I'm like, shoot, I don't want to use it for a utility vehicle. I'm going to fix this thing up pretty nice as a driver, just, you know, grocery getter and whatnot. Yeah, I got an old utility vehicle now. Bought that old S10 there. It's the 4.3, and in fair shape. It's got a check engine light for a NOx sensor. I mean, fair shape as far as for a work truck. It's not a nice one, that's for sure. But I didn't want a nice one. I wanted one that I didn't have to worry about. I ain't doing nothing to it except what it needs to be in good running shape. So I'll give you a quick inside look. It's pretty bad. It was leaking terribly bad around the windshield. I repaired that and screwed up, and the silicone started curing before I got it smoothed out. Did a good job over here on this side. It hadn't dried yet, or not, I mean, you know, an acceptable job. But then I got up here and it's just smearing because it started curing. I could probably trim that down and put a layer on it, but I'm not worried about it. That's good enough. Oh, and I did want to fix a few little spots here. I'm seeing some rust. I'll put some of that rust stuff on it and paint that, and then put the cowl back on it. But yeah, it's not registered right now. I mean, I've sent the title off, but I've not registered it. You know, I gotta do a few things to it to get it drivable. But that's where I'm at, and I said hopefully this will be in there today. Trans is here, all the pieces all cleaned up nice and everything over there to get back on everything. But that's it.